Hello, this is a special, extraordinary video here at Christian Horner because it's time to talk about the news that Christian Horner's accuser has been suspended with full pay. She has not been sacked. She still is an employee of Red Bull Racing, but I am led to believe that she played a huge part in the WhatsApp email leaks that were released to the journalists and the paddock last week in Bahrain. I think Red Bull are pretty fair in suspending her, to be honest, with full pay. I think, and especially, but of course, many will say that if the accusations were false, then they actually have grounds to sack her completely. But I think Red Bull have got some even more serious implications on their hands now. And I now have sensed that, of course, having seen the comments made by Jos Verstappen urging for Christian Horner to resign, there is now officially a power struggle going on between the Verstappen family, Max and his dad Jos, and Christian Horner, who, of course, is the reason why Adrian Newey is Red Bull's designer. Because without Christian Horner, you lose Adrian Newey. Because Christian Horner is essentially Adrian Newey's main man in the team, the guy who defends him, who sticks up for him politically whenever Red Bull and their drivers want to do something that Adrian Newey doesn't want to do. So, of course, Newey always turns to Christian Horner for his advice and for his support and backing. But if you lose Christian Horner now, that probably will mean that Adrian Newey will probably hand in his P45 as well, which means that Red Bull may not have a championship winning car if Adrian Newey leaves, particularly with 2026 coming up and the new Ford hybrid engines coming in to replace the Honda engines they've got. This could end seriously badly for Red Bull, and now they've got a decision to make because, of course, it sounds more like Jos Verstappen being quite a duplicitous character with a dodgy past, domestic violence against his ex-wife, attacking competitors at karting tracks. Apparently, also another incident when he was alleged of attempting to run over another one of his ex-partners. Yeah, we've got a real power struggle going on, and I have to say this, it does seem like there have been speculations that Jos Verstappen was having an affair with Christian Horner's personal assistant, and that, I don't know how it came to be, but Christian Horner himself, of course, also sent those messages flirting with his own personal assistant. It's a really dodgy situation because, of course, nobody can really truly agree on what quote unquote consent is, even though, in my personal opinion, consent is not a thing. It's just a thing made up by feminists to really gaslight men over the terms of engagement in sexual relationships. But I digress. It appears to be Jos Verstappen is really sharpening his knives because, of course, on his end of the bargain, he has his son, who he has nurtured since the age of 3 years old to become a top elite racing driver. And I think that he believes that Red Bull don't really need Christian Horner or Adrian Newey anymore. That just with having his son around and just having a car that's just about good enough to win a championship and an engine strong and reliable enough to power the car, that Max Verstappen could still win a championship in a second or third best car. And for whatever sort of beef or power struggle or disagreement he has with Adrian Newey and of course Christian Horner, that it's either the Verstappen stay at Red Bull for 2025 and beyond, or it's just Horner and Newey. And now Red Bull have got to ask themselves, which party do they see as more valuable? The Verstappen family, who of course have the superstar driving son, or the Horner contingent, who of course, Christian is in charge of recruitment and most importantly, keeping Adrian Newey happy, the guy who, of course, designs the cars that keeps winning races and championships. It's a really tough one for Red Bull because, of course, we've been hearing rumours circulating of Max Verstappen joining Mercedes for 2025. Now that Lewis Hamilton has a free seat, Lewis Hamilton vacated a seat to join Ferrari, and of course, there were, of course, rumours that Jos Verstappen and Max were not happy about the fact that Lewis Hamilton will be getting paid more money at Ferrari than Max is getting paid at Red Bull for winning all the championships. And of course, we have to remember back in 2019, of course, Jos Verstappen followed Mercedes on Instagram, and he's had messages and chats with Total Wolf. And now that with Lewis Hamilton out of the window at Mercedes, this may come to fruition. Max Verstappen could be joining Mercedes especially now, of course, Horner and Adrian Newey get to stay at Red Bull because, I think I think by the sounds of it, Red Bulls do seem like they really want to keep Horner and Newey because, of course, you have to remember back in 2010 to 2013, they won 4 consecutive championships with Sebastian Vettel. Now, of course, Vettel was indeed a very good driver, but some may argue that Max is an even better driver. So, big situation happening at Red Bull. It really does remain to be seen what will happen, but I think one thing is certain. In 2025, I do not see Horner and Newey cooperating with the Verstappen family in whatever capacity, whatever team. Those 4 will not be together anymore.